Welcome to the start of my Halloween content. I'm Kay and today we're going trick-or-treating, not for candy though, but for something better because it just so happens that Cracked Polish filled my little pumpkin guy here with their Rest in Polish collection. Not just that, but we got the jelly of the month in here somewhere and also their anniversary shade. Aside from that, I heard that Cracked dropped in 3 special treats for my viewers, so stick around while I swatch if you want a chance to be one of 3 lucky winners. Now when it comes to the Rest in Polish collection, it does consist of 6 Halloween inspired shades, of course, and heads up that we do have a very nice variety when it comes to finishes. Now Crack did send this collection to me and the other polishes as PR, and they are also sponsoring this video. That's just disclosure there for you guys. Before you get started though, if you are new to Cracked, they are 10 free, they're vegan, they're also cruelty free in case you like to support these things. So with that, let's get to digging through this pumpkin guy here, but then I will be back because I have some information about Crack's upcoming 20% sale and some more info about the Rest in Polish release. Let's get into this bucket and see what Cracked threw in here for us. It does look like our first polish is Scorchy. So we are kicking off the sesh with a magnetic topper, but as always, you know that I'll be swatching it in 3 ways: unmagnetized, in the lightsaber, and then in the velvet styles. First, we are going to focus on the unmagnetized look. And getting into the details, Scorchy seems to have a blackened jelly-like base that is heavily seasoned with this fiery orange magnetic pigment that has this soft gold shift to it. However, I do want to warn you that the blackened base itself is really sheer. Since it is a topper, it will need to be built up nicely, especially if you are wanting the cat eye effect and you want that magnetic pigment to pop, which I know at the same time it can be pretty time consuming, but it's still worth it if you appreciate magnetics. Here we have the unmagnetized look, in which you can't really even tell at all that there's a blackened jelly base. The orange glow is really the main character here, and while I'm sure nobody minds that, we do know that it yearns for the magnet. So check it out, you guys. It definitely has the traits of a jelly magnetic, and if you look closely, you can see some dark micro size elements too, which just add a little bit more interest. Although this polish is different from Lahar, I can't help but be reminded of Lahar. They do seem to share similar DNA traits. However, I will share more about that in my thoughts on the collection at the end of the video. Last but not least is the velvet effect, which is basically the unmagnetized style but on steroids, right? The horseshoe magnet really wakes up those magnetic pigments in such a way that it makes it look almost cartoonish, like a 3D effect. Now don't forget, Scorchy is a topper, so here it is over a dark green polish, and personally, if I do use this as a topper, I'd probably use darker shades like this one underneath, since the black jelly base can create a cast over lighter shades. But we have a lot of other polishes to cover, so get me that pumpkin head. Alright, let's pick out our second polish to swatch, which is gonna be Hex Mix. Let's break this mix down and see what we have here, starting with the base, which is a purple jelly, and it is hexed with holographic and lilac glitters, which we need to talk about because the particular execution style that Cracked went with here is ideal in my opinion, because no matter what lighting you're in, the rainbow pops will come through without any of the gray or silver or dullness that comes with linear hollow for example. When it comes to application, I do recommend you apply thicker coats of Hex Mix so that you get a nice even end result like what you're seeing here. But check it out, you guys, the end result. I will absolutely take this exact formula in all colors. Should crack make it in all colors, of course. Doesn't it have a little bit of a nostalgic vibe too? It still speaks Halloween though, and I think it's gonna be an excellent pick for those of you who are looking to rock a more spooky, cute, color-filled looking manicure this season. Next up is Skelly Bones. So Skelly Bones is actually the Pink Hair Strands remake. Unfortunately, I do not own a Pink Hair Strands, which was a sheer frosted pink polish with pink and lilac shimmers, and it shifted from white to pink. Now, Skelly Bones has a white base with pink and purple shimmers. And based on pictures I've seen, I think Crack did a great job at getting really close to the Pink Hair Strands look. Now at this point in my swatch, I am on the second coat and I am aiming for 3 just to really push the polish and get the most out of these very delicate colors, which I'm realizing are ones you can definitely drag from fall to winter and even into spring, in my opinion, especially for those of you who are seasonally appropriate. But this is also the type of polish that you can use in a jelly sandwich, and I'm pretty sure this could probably work as a topper as well. So here we have the end result. You can see that my nail line is still a tad bit visible, and that's okay. This is just that type of polish. But if you really wanted a fully opaque result, then I would use this over a white or even over Crack's neutralizer. So I think Skelly Bones is definitely gonna be a good option for those of you looking for more of a whimsical Halloween nail aesthetic. I think this would also look really neat in some pinky ghost nail art. Back to the bucket to see what cracked treat we pulled this time around, and it does look like we got our first special treat from Cracked Polish. So for a chance to win this $20 gift card, make sure you're following Cracked Polish and myself on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and leave a comment on this video letting Cracked and I know what your favorite R.I.P polish is. The giveaway is going to end on September 26th, the same day this collection launches, and I'll reach out to the winners via IGDM. So good luck to everyone, and let's get back to our next pick, which is gonna be Wicked Root. Next in the sesh, actually I need to play that back. That formula is too smooth. All right, so I thought this polish would be brown because of the name, but it's actually a deep forest green polish in a metallic type of finish with an irresistible, smooth and silky glide to it that we need to see that again actually, but slower. So good, guys. It's very satisfying when the formula applies the way it looks, and this polish to me looks very velvety. As you can see, it has really good coverage. That first coat laid down pretty nice and opaque, but I still recommend at least a second coat to ensure that you're getting everything that this polish has to offer. Notice how the edges of my nail remain dark, but head on you get a much clearer view of that green color. So this is yet another polish in this collection that I think the seasonal wearers could drag into winter due to the jewel type of tone that we get here. Dipping my hand right back into the pumpkin, and it looks like we pulled the jelly of the month called Simply Mauvelous, Dahling. All right, that was kind of good, I think. As a jelly lover, I think it's so neat that Cracked releases a jelly of the month, and this time around we are getting a rose mauve color, which even though I'm not a fan of these tones, I know it's ideal for autumn. It's one of those colors that feels very cozy, like a nice warm blanket during the colder days of fall. So I can definitely still appreciate the feeling that it brings up in me. Notice how it went from looking a little more brown on the first coat to this color where the rose tone is really coming out to play. So I do recommend you at least apply a second coat. And with the jelly of the month swatched, Dahling. Alright, where's that pumpkin head again? Is it gonna be another Cracked treat? Nope, it's actually Ghoul's Garden. Ghoul's Garden is a magnetic, so stay tuned to see the lightsaber and velvet styles, but I do like to see these magnetic polishes unmagnetized because, I mean, laziness, if I'm being honest. Can we get a decent look if I bypass the science? That's what we're here to test out. So, Ghoul's Garden has a brown mauve base that is hexed with green shimmer and rose magnetic pigment. Now, when those three ingredients are mixed in the cracked cauldron, you end up with what I would describe as a muddy burgundy tone with a scattering of green shimmer. But here is the end result of that brown mauve, the green shimmer, and rose magnetic pigment evenly mixed together. However, the Ghoul does yearn for the magnet. And check out the result of this lightsaber style. That color combo is everything. The green and the pink are so supportive of one another that somehow they are both the main characters here. I mean, the pink glow is almost otherworldly. It's very delicate, and it actually reminds me of the name of the polish, Ghoul's Garden. It's almost like the pink is like the flower amongst the garden. However, let's move on to the velvet style. All you see is a pink sheen or just a strong pink glaze blanketing over all of that brown and green tones. And you know, personally, I consider this to be an outstanding polish in that it's not a magnetic color combo that I've seen. So for you magnetic collectors out there, this could have the potential of being a unique one in your collection. Alright, let's dig through this confetti mess for our next pull, which is gonna be Mourning Light. So when I initially saw this polish, I thought it was a magnetic, but what we actually have here is a gray jelly base that is heavily seasoned with golden aurora shimmers. Now, the gray color in this jelly base is really light. Personally, I would have loved to have seen it in a darker gray tone, but hey, that is coming from a person who's never made nail polish. As light as this polish is, this is one that I don't think would work well as a topper, since the gray tone is gonna cast some of its color over whatever you put it on. But it's definitely something you can experiment with, and also, as light as it is, you don't need to get excessive with layers here because the Aurora Shimmer got such a loose hand from Cracked that it really does well in covering up that nail line with just a second coat. So overall, I do dig the gray and the gold color combo. It does create a bit of a enigmatic vibe, and in my opinion, the gray tone really helps to keep it within that Halloween territory. Back to the pumpkin here, which is looking mighty empty, but there's still a few things here for us, and it looks like we pulled the second Cracked treat. So make sure to follow the instructions I mentioned earlier in the video or read the description box. Good luck. Let's get back to picking the next polish, which is gonna be Heir Apparent. Heir Apparent is Cracked Polish's anniversary or bonus shade, and it is actually the part 2 to Jewel of the Ball, which was Cracked's first ever contribution to polish pickup. Now this polish is a magnetic, but we're going to focus on the unmagnetized style first before checking out the magnetized styles. And so what you're seeing here is all of that red shimmer in the base evenly mixed with the teal to purple magnetic pigment, which creates like a dark green color that shifts to purple. And then if you look closely, you can catch sight of those red shimmers scattered throughout. It's definitely an interesting look when worn this way, and you only need a total of 2 coats to reach opacity when unmagnetized. But let's feed it the magnet. So all of that teal magnetic pigment gathers up on the nail like a lightsaber, and you're left with that dark red shimmery base as a background. Now, I do not own Jewel of the Ball to compare it to Heir Apparent, but I have to say that teal pigment is standing out beautifully, and you can catch those shifts into purple as I move my nail around. But let's check out the velvet style, where instead of a lightsaber, the magnetic does in fact turn into a blanket, because it just layers itself over the red shimmery base, creating this super obvious contrast with flashes of that teal light. So, you know, I feel like if you missed Jewel of the Ball, you kind of have a chance here to own its relative at least. Can you believe we have more to pull? So actually guys, this pumpkin is in fact haunted and it spawns nail polishes. However, this is not a polish. It is the third and final Cracked gift card for a third winner. So good luck. Let's go talk more about the release and about Cracked sale. So those were the swatches. Now this collection is going to drop on the 26th of this month, and the entire Rest and Polish collection is going to drop for $65 USD, but the individual shades are going to go for $13 USD. The jelly of the month, however, is going to go for $10 USD. On that same day, the 26th, Cracked is celebrating their anniversary, so there will be a 1-day 20% off sale. Make sure to take advantage of that because it is 1 day only. I also wanted to do a quick comparison between Lahar and Scorchy. As you can see, they are really different, so do not be afraid to pick up both of these if you like both of them, because you are gonna get 2 very different looks. Overall, this collection was so much fun to me. I feel like we got different tastes for everyone. There's some people that like to go for a little bit more of a refined, mature Halloween look, but then there's other people who are looking for something a little bit more fun and playful, which I think Hex Mix and Ghoul's Garden fit that type of criteria. Let me go ahead and magnetize this for you all. Yeah, Ghoul's Garden is absolutely beautiful. I had never seen a color combo in a magnetic polish like this before. To anyone who decided to enter the giveaway, good luck. I am really excited to reach out to the winners via Instagram. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.